Hello there. Today I'm going to be ranking my top 10 NBA players. So if you want to see some mediocre analysis, some personal bias, and some poor video editing skills, please watch this video. First of all, I want to talk about the criteria of what's going into this video. So how I'm ranking these players. First of all, the biggest thing is going to be my personal bias, how good I think the player is. But I'm also going to give players a bonus if they have a legacy of being great. So players like LeBron, Steph, they're going to get a little bit of a bonus there. Other things that I'm going to be giving a bonus for is if I think they are an ascending player. So some of the younger players that I think are going to be better next year, I'm going to project a little bit for that. And also, I'm going to be kind of reactionary to the playoffs of this year. So some players that did really well in this year's playoffs are also going to be getting a bonus. So with that being said, let's get into the honorable mentions. All right, first on my list of honorable mentions, I'm going Kawhi Leonard. He has been very good this year. He stayed healthy for a majority of the year. The Clippers did really well. They had a shitty draw with the Nuggets in the playoffs. They probably could have gone further if they had a better first round matchup. Can blame the seeding for that, though, I guess. But the main reason I'm not considering him strongly for actually being in my top 10 is because of his history of being so injury prone. Obviously, he was really good when he played for the Raptors and had a few pretty good seasons for the Clippers, but him just always being injured in the playoffs makes it hard to really consider him for my top 10. Next, I'm going Joel Embiid. Embiid being out most of this year and the Sixers being so horrible, even when he was there, it's just hard to actually consider him for top 10 after this year, especially when so many other players have done so well. There's so many ascending players. It's just hard to squeeze him in there. My next honorable mention, I'm going Jaylen Brown. I don't think he's actually strongly considered for anyone's top 10, but I just wanted to give him a shout out for always being so good with the Celtics. And he was the finals MVP last year. So that's a pretty big bonus for him. And the Celtics are pretty good, and they're probably still going to be like a viable playoff contender, even with Jason Tatum out. So let's see how Jaylen Brown does this next year without him. My next honorable mention is Karl Anthony Towns. Towns has been very good for the Knicks, and he had a very good statistical year. And them making it to the Eastern Conference Finals is a big bonus for him. But I still just don't think he's quite good enough to be considered top 10, especially because him and Brunson together can beat the Pacers is a pretty big knock against him. But they did beat the Celtics, and they still made it to the conference finals, which is no small feat. Just ask Joel Embiid about that. All right, but my next honorable mention is going to be Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, once again, just like Kawhi, super injury prone. He's super talented, but just all the injury prone stuff. Like his nickname is literally street clothes. Like I can't actually put him in my top 10. But I do think the Mavs are going to be good next year with him. My next honorable mention might be a little bit of a shocker that he's not in the top 10 is Kevin Durant, but how bad the Suns have been with him, it's just hard to actually put him in top 10 when you can't even make the playoffs. I know the Western Conference is completely stacked, but you can even make the play in. They got like the 11th seed, I'm pretty sure. So any team that has Booker and Durant should make it to the playoffs. I know they have the Bradley Beal contract and don't really have a center, but come on, like not even making the playoffs. He did just get traded to the Rockets. That news just broke right before I'm recording this, but I do think next year is going to be a better year for him in terms of how he does in the playoffs. Obviously, I have two more honorable mentions. I know I have a shit ton, but my next is Victor Wembanyama. I'm not even sure how to say his name. I'll do my research and improve on that in the future. I hope I did good enough. But he's just too young still to actually put in my top 10. If I did, it would be a complete projection that he's going to be better. I know he's already been in the running for Defensive Player of the Year the last 2 years and pretty much didn't get it this year because he had this blood clot stuff going on. So in the future, I'm sure he's going to be in the top 10, but just is a little too premature right now. My last honorable mention, who is the closest for me to put in my top 10, is Donovan Mitchell. He has been good every single year he's been in the NBA. I don't think he's had like one bad season, and he always makes the playoffs. The thing is he has a ceiling of the semifinals. Like he never gets past the conference semifinals. I don't think there's a single year he made it to the conference finals. And maybe that's more of a team thing, and he's always the best player on his team, so it's still impressive that he's getting into the playoffs and usually winning around, and he was just the best player on a 60-win team. But I just don't think he has it in him to break through to be a top 10 player yet. Maybe he'll get better still, but he just has to do more in the playoffs to reach that. But that's all my honorable mentions. I just really wanted to get over those people just to really cement that anyone that's in my top 10 is better than these people because of these reasons. So with that, all that being said, let's get into the actual top 10. All right, at my number 10, I have Le King, Le Pookie, Le Goat, LeBron James. He is starting to lose the battle to Father Time. I think that's pretty evident that he is slowly declining, but he is still like better than 99% of the NBA, even at what is he now, like 41? I just think he's still dropping 25, 8, and 8. Still got a 3 seed in the Western Conference. I know he had Anthony Davis and Luka for half of the year each, but still leading the team to the 3 seed in the West is no small feat. They got 50 wins. I know he doesn't do it on a night to night basis like some of the other players do, but I feel like when he wants to lock in, he's still one of the best players, like still better than 10. He is the highest IQ of any NBA player. I think that's a pretty general consensus. I don't think that's a hot take. So that's why I got him at 10. All right, number 9 on my list, I have Jalen Brunson. Brunson pretty much went 26, 3, and 7 this year. He can score and facilitate. The numbers prove that. He took the Knicks to the Eastern Conference Finals. I know they have a pretty solid team around him, but he's the best player on the team. He beat the Celtics going blow for blow with Tatum. I know some people like to say, oh, if Tatum didn't get hurt, maybe they had a chance, but they were going up like 3-1 when Tatum got hurt with like 2 minutes left in the fourth. They were winning that series. I'll die on that hill. He just is a really good point guard all around. I know they could have made the finals this year, but they just got Halliburton, so he is pretty solid there at 9. All right, speaking of Halliburton, he is my number 8 player. He is just the best facilitator in the league right now. Literally had 9 assists a game this last year. I know he could be better at scoring. He could be more aggressive at scoring sometimes. I know there's a stat out there that like when he misses his first shot, he shoots like shit the rest of the game. But just this year's playoffs have proved that he is an ascending superstar and a force to be reckoned with. Just ask my Milwaukee Bucks. They just get annihilated by him and the Pacers every single time they play, and it's kind of gross. He's an extremely clutch player. He has like literally a highlight reel of game-winning shots this year. He might be getting a little bit of a recency bias bonus with this, but he's just been too good to not put this high. Number 7, I'm going Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards has gone to the Western Conference Finals in back-to-back years, being the best player on his team. He does have a really good roster around him, to be fair. He beat Jokic last year, and he beat LeBron and Luka this year. I think a couple of years ago he beat KD. He went 27, 6, and 4 this year. I think he was like the best player from 3. Like I think he had the best shooting percentage or made the most or something. I just know he was really good from the 3 this year. The reason I don't have him any higher is because he can be inconsistent. Like this year's playoffs definitely proved that. He had some games where he looked like the best player in the world and some games where he just shit the bed. He's extremely fun to watch. Even the games where he's like not playing the greatest, he just talks shit and it's really funny. He seems to have a really good mentality about him and just he's definitely ascending still. So next year he could move even higher than this. All right, at number 6, I'm going Steph Curry. This does almost feel a little high, but I just feel like the way he has carried the Warriors last few seasons, like it's hard to put him any lower than this. He went 24, 4, and 6 this year. He still beat the Rockets in the first round, which that was a 7 seed beating a 2 seed, so that was kind of crazy. Besides Draymond and Jimmy Butler, their roster has been like extremely mid, and he's still making it to the playoffs like every single year. He's an all-time legend. He would have had a really good shot against Minnesota if he didn't get injured. I think that series would have been really competitive. So he might have even made it to the conference finals this year if he didn't get injured. Granted, you could hold the injury against him because maybe that's showing his age a little bit, but they won the first game when he played, so you never know. Number 5, I'm still going with Jayson Tatum. This is assuming he comes back from injury, relatively the same player. I know it's hard to come back from injury and be immediately as good as you were, but he has been just so good. I couldn't put him any lower, and I didn't want to shit on him too much for the injury. He was literally dropping like a 40 bomb against the Knicks when he did get injured. He's been in the MVP discussion every single year. I know that's not really seriously considered for MVP. He's like always like fourth or fifth, but it just shows like he's really consistently a really good player. He was first team All NBA still this year. Good stats. He pretty much went 27, 8, and 6. And they won the championship last year as the Celtics' best player. So I know some people argue that Jaylen Brown contributed more, but when you really get down to it, I think Tatum is the better player. So that's my number 5. Number 4, I'm going to go Luka Doncic. He had a bit of a down year this year, but I think he's still broadly considered like a top 5 player. Went 28, 8, 8 with 2 steals this year, and that's on a down year. He was definitely out of shape. Like I feel like you could tell, and like he was injured for a big chunk of the year, but he's still putting up great numbers. And everything I've seen this offseason, he's still working out. He's eating healthier. So I think next year he's going into it with a chip on his shoulder from being traded, and I'm assuming he's going to be a monster. Kind of hoping because I am a little bit of a Lakers fan. Call me a bandwagoner if you want. Um, he did get eliminated in the first round by the T Wolves, and he literally had the next best player in the series being LeBron. So that's a little bit of a knock against him. Why I couldn't put him any higher than 4. At number 3, I'm going to go SGA. Amazing year this year. Won the MVP, 33, 5, and 6. First team All NBA. Took his team to the finals. Last year they did pretty good in the playoffs too, but got beat a little early in the semis. They beat the Nuggets and the T Wolves this year, so eliminating Jokic, eliminating Ant, that's not a small feat. I know he's got a pretty stacked team. I know he's the free throw merchant, but still got to put him at 3. At number 2, I'm going with Giannis Antetokounmpo. I probably butchered that one too. I'm sorry. He went 30, 12, and 6 this year. Crazy stats. He's always like third in the MVP conversation. It's always Jokic, someone else, and then Giannis. He had 60% field goal percentage, which is insane. I know he has the weakness of can't shoot free throws, can't really shoot threes, but he's amazing on defense, still an absolute force on offense. First team All NBA yet again. He keeps getting eliminated early in the playoffs, which maybe is an argument to have SGA or Luka ahead of him, but he's just had such horrible injury luck. Like this year, Dame, his second best player, comes back from blood clots to tear his ACL like 3 games later. Last year, he had a calf injury. The year before that, he had a back injury in the playoffs. And the year before that, when his second best player was Middleton and Middleton was still good, he sprains his MCL and they lose to the Celtics. So I'm still putting him at 2, even though maybe people will argue for lower, but he is just still so dominant that I can't put him any lower. All right, and big shocker at number 1, we are going Nikola Jokic. 30, 13, and 10. They've been super hard to get out in the playoffs the last 2 years. They won the championship a couple years ago, then went 7 against the T-Wolves last year, 7 against the Thunder this year. He is just a force in the regular season and in the postseason. 3 MVPs could easily be 5 if the voting was actually for the best player, not just other random shit going into it. And still just a couple of years removed from winning that championship and being finals MVP and winning all these MVPs. I think he's easily the best player in the world right now. So that's my top 10. If you want to argue with me, please do. I'd love to debate it. I'm going to be including a little thing after this video to talk about me starting a YouTube channel and all the weirdness with that. So stick around if you want to watch that. Otherwise, argue with me. Alright, so I just wanted to address the randomness of me making a YouTube video. It's honestly just for fun, just something to do while I'm bored. I just want to make fun videos for my friends to watch. Gonna try to make videos that I think my friends will find funny, my friends will find interesting. So it's mostly for them and for myself above all else. I've always loved YouTube. Like, I grew up watching Rooster Teeth on YouTube, Big Red versus Blue fan. I've been watching like sports debate shows for the last like 10 years on YouTube, like religiously every single day. I love so many other YouTubers that do other sorts of reviews and rankings and stuff. So I think my big thing I'm going to do is just make a bunch of like top 10 videos and shit along those lines, tier list videos if I can figure out how to do that and edit it nice. So I don't really have any unrealistic expectations of like I'm going to become a full-time YouTuber or anything. I just thought it'd be fun to do. So I would appreciate if you're supportive of it and don't make fun of me for it, but I welcome the criticism and I understand it is a pretty weird nerdy thing to do. So I get it if you do make fun of me for it. Um I chose this video to do first because I think it's just pretty topical with the NBA playoffs going on and the finals just finishing up. So I'm going to make a lot of sports videos. I think that's going to be my biggest niche. I don't think I'm going to have a very specific niche though. I'm just going to make videos that I want to make and that I think are fun. So if that sounds something interesting to you, please just subscribe, watch the videos, support it. But it's just a hobby of mine. I don't expect it to go anywhere. So just wanted to get that out of the way.